Hey y'all, I'm Byron.
And I'm Margaret, and we'd like to welcome you back to the Beyond I Do podcast.
Most people get married believing the myth that marriage is a beautiful box full of all the things they have longed for: companionship, intimacy, friendship, etc. The truth is that marriage at the start is an empty box. You must put something in it before you can take anything out. Ooh, wow.
There is no love in marriage. Love is in people, and people put love in marriage. There is no romance in marriage. You have to infuse it into your marriage. A couple must learn the art and form the habit of giving, loving, serving, praising, and keeping the box full. If you take out more than you put in, then the box will be empty.
I like that. That's pretty deep. In this episode, we will discuss 10 myths about marriage and the reality of each one.
Before we get into our episode, we want to share this disclaimer. We are not marriage counselors, nor are we mental health professionals. We simply want to share with you what has worked in our marriage. Now, on to our episode. All right, myth number 1. You should never feel rejected by your spouse.
Right.
Which is wrong.
Never feel rejected.
You are two different people, and there are times when moods, needs are conflicted, and you will, in fact, feel the rejection.
Well, yeah, and in that case, yeah, I see what you're saying now. Yep.
So we have a couple of examples of times when we misunderstood things.
Yep.
And there was a moment of rejection.
These are the early years, y'all.
This was very early. Our son was he even 2? I don't think he was 2 yet.
Between 1 and 2, somewhere in there.
And he was working about an hour and 20 minutes one way. And it was me and the baby at home.
Yep.
I wasn't working at the time. And I said to him one day, he got in and I was so excited that he was home. I said, I count the hours until you get home. And he said, really? You need to get a hobby. And my little heart just broke. My spirit just dropped.
All right, now let me explain myself here. Now, I was thinking in terms of, how like when you've known people that have been married for a while and they have this, chemistry and you've seen them married for a while. I think in my head I was thinking like, maybe that was us because we've known each other for so long. And I guess I was just thinking, well, you should be used to me by it. But, it didn't dawn on me what I was saying. So that was very stupid of me. But, it definitely had an effect because every now and then it comes up.
Yep. Still.
Yep. All right, my turn.
Yep, your turn.
All right, let me put this into perspective. All right, now Margaret was going to get her master's degree, and she would go to school on the weekend. So I don't know. I was out there in the garage. At that time, she would smoke cigarettes, and so she would be out there in the garage. So that was kind of like our time, I'd be out there messing around with something, my bike or something. And she would be online or whatever. So we got to talking. And she said, you know what? This is maybe the first time I feel that I could support myself without you. And I'm sitting up there like...
I didn't... Wait. I didn't say without you. I said support myself. Okay. Because we were so young. And even though I had lived outside, right? Even though I had lived outside of my mom's house, they still they paid rent, they paid my car payment, things like that. So I said this is the first time I would be able to. When I finished, it would be the first time I'd be able to support myself.
Yeah. So when you said that, I was like, "What the hell she mean by support herself? Trying to leave me?" That's a little insecurity, but
that was after the chili incident too, I might add.
Oh, so that was after the chili incident. Oh, okay.
So just be lucky that
Oh, okay.
I decided to stay.
I had to get some clarity on that. I think I was a little upset though. I think I stopped talking to you for about an hour or so.
And that was something that didn't come up. It didn't come up right away. Like, we didn't discuss it right away. It actually came up when more negative stuff happened, and we kind of sat down and went through some things that, this happened and this happened and this is how it made me feel. So I went on about my business, not realizing at the time that, that it had gotten to you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right, myth number 2.
All right. We should have the same interests. Okay. Now, it does help to have a few things in common, but still, you are two different individuals.
Right.
Now, we both have a love for music. We like comedy. We like TV shows, crime, dramas. We like all different, we like all those things alike. And there were even some things I remember that I really didn't care for back in the day, like, Lifetime Network. And at one time I used to be like, she watching that mess again. But then I started sitting down and watching it, and for long it was like, I remember Saturdays, like all day long.
All day, yep.
Lifetime, all day long. So, if I didn't enjoy it in the beginning, I grew to enjoy it.
And we've actually come full circle, because at the time, it was almost like a little brag that we didn't watch sports.
Yeah.
But now, because of you, our weekends are spent watching sports.
Look, now, let me tell you.
But we watch together.
In our early years, I could care less about the basketball score, the football games. I'll just be honest with you. And I think it was more so like just the camaraderie of being around coworkers and friends and not knowing what I was talking about, or they're talking about this. So, and then I remember we both adapted a love for the Clippers.
Yeah.
We were in LA that time, and so that got us on the basketball. And then of course, college football started up. I've always been a Georgia fan, but just didn't pay attention to them. And then same thing with the Falcons. So, I just started paying attention more to just know what people were talking about. I guess the older you get, the more you want to know stuff. So,
and
love it now.
While we have some common interests, we also have hobbies that are separate.
Yep.
I crochet. I love doing my hair. I love technology and things of that nature. Whereas with him, he's always fixing or building something. He loves cars. He loves motorcycle. So we have these separate interests. But we still find time to enjoy those things that we do have in common.
Yeah. And
we respect the talent that the other has in those things that are separate.
I remember when you started crocheting, and I was like, where'd this come from? And it was like it wasn't all of a sudden thing, but I noticed you doing it, and then you watch videos. And that's the one thing I admired, even with the hair stuff. I remember you like sitting in that garage watching video after video, and you said to me, babe, I think I'm gonna go natural with my hair. I'm like, okay. And you studied it, and you did it. The same thing with the crocheting. You studied it, and you learned how to do it. And I admire that.
And you're Byron the Builder, and I admire that too. All right. Myth number 3. Having a child will bring us closer. So, if you have not checked out our episode, Apples and Trees, that episode, we do go into detail about our thoughts on parenting and how we've handled some of the parenting issues with our kids. So make sure you check that out.
Yes.
As far as this myth goes, if there are problems within a marriage, if there are things that need to be dealt with, having a child will simply make it worse. Yes. There's a set of challenges that comes along with being a parent that even a healthy, happy couple have to make adjustments. Mm-hmm. And also disagreements about raising kids, discipline, the education or type of education. All of those things will only get worse if the relationship is not strong.
Yes. Agreed. All right, myth number 4. Once things are bad, we can't make them any better. Unresolved issues can make a couple feel stuck, but both parties need to commit to working on the issues.
So for us, we work very hard. We still work very hard to be open and to communicate with each other.
Yes.
To try and prevent issues from getting too big. Mm-hmm. And that for me is sometimes hard because I see more issues than are usually there.
Yeah.
But I'm also committed to making sure that we openly communicate to each other.
I also realize that you can overcome issues even if it means turning to outside resources like counseling. I know for us, counseling has played a big part in helping to deal with each other individually and
helping with our individual
issues,
which essentially helped us, become better as a couple.
And also talking about those really deep issues from the past. I know that helped us tremendously. It helped me to understand your reactions and the way you would respond. So that helped me to know, okay, I can't take it personal. That's just, learning how you grew up, learning the things that you've been through. It helped me to say, okay, I shouldn't take it personal that you said this. Yeah, it hurt, but it's coming from a place of pain. And, we learn from the Dr. Phil days. Hurting people hurt people.
You want to be right or you want to be happy?
Exactly. You want to be right or you want to be happy. So.
All right, myth number 5. Your true love will automatically know what to do and say to make you happy. And this goes back to part of what we just said as far as communicating.
Yep.
You can't read each other's minds. Nobody reads minds. And it's important that you communicate your needs.
Yep.
So for me, I am a thinker, sometimes an overthinker. Mm-hmm. I analyze everything, sometimes overanalyze. And it usually swings to negative. So there are times when he may be quiet and I'm in my brain going through the list of what could be wrong.
Just like that meme with the couple in bed and he's facing the opposite way. She's like, I wonder what he's thinking about. Is he thinking about other chicks? And he's like, I wonder if I twisted the alternator the correct way or did I tighten the gas cap on the car.
And that is literally what happens.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think that we've gotten good with communicating our needs to each other. For me, needs have changed, and I try to communicate that. For him, he is patient when I go into overthink overanalyze mode and shares with me, no, baby, I'm thinking about the car. One thing, y'all, one thing that really blew my mind, one day we were in the car and he got quiet all of a sudden. And so, of course, I'm running down in my brain things that have happened to try and figure out what is it that happened. Did I do something wrong? Did something upset him? And so finally I said, "What are you thinking about?" And he said, "Which way I'm going to drive home." We hadn't even gotten to where we were going.
Yep.
So
that's me. Analyzing.
Now, because we communicate with each other, we understand those things a little better. But it took us getting to the point of being comfortable to communicate, and then realizing that, there are times, and I still have my moments because I do like getting my way. I still have my moments where I get mad about something, and I think that is radiating from me, and that you realize I'm mad or upset about something, and you go on about your business and don't even realize it. So communication is...
Sometimes I do, but then sometimes it's like I think for me it's like, is this the right time to discuss this or bring something like that up? And if it's me, the right time will never arrive, because so you have to bring stuff up half the time, because it'll never be there. Because I'm overthinking it. I overthink, but it's different. Like, I'm thinking about which way I'm gonna turn, which way I'm gonna go, because traffic is heavy this time of day. So if we're going somewhere, or if I'm coming back, and you'll tell me things like, I want to do this. So immediately I'm thinking, okay, how can we make this happen? So sometimes it's that,
The important takeaway is we can't read each other's minds.
No, we don't.
And the best remedy for that is to just be open and honest and communicate.
And sometimes, like, when you ask me what's wrong and I say I'm tired, sometimes I'm just mentally tired. Mm-hmm. Like, it could be something that happened at work that day, and I'm just mentally tired. Like, I can't just, like, my mind is cloudy. So that's why, if you notice, I picked up some things, like, on my games and stuff, because that kind of helps me. All right, let's carry on. Myth number 6. Happy couples never fight. Shit. That's what I put in the note. Shit. Now, conflicts cannot be avoided. Never. You can't avoid conflicts. You try to put them off, but you can't avoid them. Best to address things sooner rather than later. Yes. Address them sooner, because if you don't address them in the beginning, stuff start adding up. You start doing stuff, and it just pile up, and the next thing you know, y'all got this big blow up happening, and you don't want that. I'm guilty. We've had that issue before, in the beginning.
We've had one within the past year.
Yeah.
We've had one.
We have.
One thing that came out of that, the last big argument that we had, I immediately start to think that I'm wrong, and that you're going to snap and it's going to be over. You're done. Like, what I have done is just so wrong. And I had a therapy session, and I was talking to my therapist, and then later on you and I were talking, and you basically said the same thing she had said, is, arguing is normal. In a relationship, you have conflicts, you have disagreements, you argue, but that doesn't automatically mean that, okay, everything is over. And because we've had a handful of just really big blowouts. Yeah. And I think that I can say with certainty that after each time, we have time where we come back together and say, okay, this is why I felt this way. This is why I said that. And so learning that arguing is normal, that was a lesson for me, because in the environment that I grew up in, it was volatile, and there wasn't any we argue and disagree and then come back together, and it was just all anger and blow up.
And I think that too, we've learned, I think in the society, we've learned to argue, and the first thing we want to do is be right or attack. And that attack, in that anger, you can say something, and that would be the most hurtful thing to say that anybody should say to their mate. But you'll say it, and then you want to bring it back and apologize. It's like, well, it's kind of too late, because you already put that in the atmosphere. And so I'll have to be careful, definitely, about what you say to each other.
I'll admit that was and has been for the longest my first line of defense is to use my words to hurt people.
Yeah.
That's just how I coped with things growing up. That was my self-preservation is if I say something hurtful enough, this person will leave me alone.
Yeah.
And so
mine was to get quiet. I'd get quiet and just
explode.
Yeah, it'd build up and explode, but I would be quiet most of the time. But then I did learn over time that, you can't just be quiet and just listen, because, a lot of, especially, I know in the early days, it would be like you would be saying stuff and you'd be saying stuff, and I ain't even thought about the second thing you said. So a lot of times I'd be quiet because I'd be trying to figure out, okay, she said this bother her, that bother her. How the hell is this shit gonna come out? So then I would be like, I would lose thought. But I learned that I had to speak up at that time and get that thought out.
Right.
In a respectful manner, not to attack you in any kind of way.
And then I had to learn, and I have learned for myself, to pause, collect my thoughts before I respond. And so if you have to pause, collect your thoughts before you respond, I realize you're not just, ignoring, or you're not trying to avoid. You are collecting your thoughts so that you can respond. Yeah. So we've learned to communicate better, and definitely I don't know that, well, yeah, I did attack a little bit. Just a little bit.
Well, I mean, and sometimes the attacks were warranted. Like,
they were never warranted, but...
Well, I mean, the things that I would do, or the actions that I had in my immature thinking, because like I said, I would oftentimes think that because we've known each other, you should be used to me. And I couldn't separate us being friends until we got married from we're married now. So it was hard to separate that. And you had, and I will say this too, you had, because you built this great defense, it almost felt like you didn't have a soft side in some way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was like, I was like, well, she's hard, so and I didn't know how to, I guess I didn't know how to deal with that. And I was trying to find a delicate way. But then I kind of overthought you. But then when you broke down and cried, that was like the worst thing I always wanted to do. I never wanted to make you cry. So when you did that, it allowed me to say, okay, you know what? She's not as hard as I thought you know what I'm saying? So I think it was, and that was learning. That was learning.
Yeah.
Because, we've had discussions, even before we got married about, well, this person did to me and I was like this and I thought this. And I think a lot of that was in my head. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, we definitely had to learn the new role that we had in each other's lives, and how to navigate that in and of itself. I think one of the you made me so mad.
What's that?
You had gone to pick him up from daycare.
Mm-hmm.
You were not in the shape to do so, you and your people, your friends. And I got on to you. I was fussing, and I'm like, what were you thinking? And you said, I don't know what to do. This is new to me. Being married, being a parent. And at the time, I was thinking, this is not my second marriage either. But, I mean, looking back,
I said that shit for real.
You did.
Oh, wow.
You
Damn.
did. And you did. And I don't want, because you've made me so angry. I had food poisoning at the time, so I couldn't go get him.
Mm.
And you and your friends had been hanging out, and y'all had been drinking, and you didn't tell me that.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And I wanted a Coke from the gas station. I wanted a fountain drink Coke.
Mm.
I was so thirsty. I felt so dehydrated. My stomach was hurting. And so you went to get the Coke to pick him up, and you took forever. So I was mad about that. And then I realized you had been drinking, and you went to pick him up.
Mm.
And you said, I don't know how to do this. And I'm like, really? Because me, myself, when I gave birth, all the answers filled me up. Like we're both learning this. But there again, you have to remove the emotion and the anger from that.
Well, look here. When you trying to defend yourself, it's hell. And I had to realize that I don't have to defend myself.
Well, I mean, you own your choices.
Yeah.
Be it good or bad, you own your choices, and understand that even though, like in the moment, the way that I reacted was probably not the best, but I was sick. And I felt like we had been put in a position to where
it was definitely a stupid thing.
Right.
I mean, by all accounts, it was very dumb with me. But there again, that was the lack of communication. And I probably didn't understand your condition. I think as men, we kind of wrestle with, especially in those early stages of letting go of ourselves and trying to be a man and trying to figure that line, where that line is. And sometimes we wrestle with that. So your friends pulling on you on one side, your wife pulling at you on the other side, and it's like, okay, what's the right thing to do?
And I will add, you weren't driving because you have a friend that doesn't drink.
Yeah. That
was with y'all. So you weren't driving. So I want to put that out there, but still.
Yeah.
And that kind of ties into myth 7.
Yep.
If I am unhappy, I married the wrong person. So in that situation, I could have said, you know what, I'm done because he doesn't know how to do this. And obviously he should. But all marriages have ups and downs. It's how you handle those things.
Exactly.
So first of all, that unhappy part of it, no one person is responsible for your happiness except for you. So that's a personal thing. So I don't depend on you to make me happy. I have to be happy, and I depend on you to support me when I'm not happy, honestly.
Right.
Or to enjoy things with you and we are happy together. But my happiness can't be dependent upon you.
Yeah.
And then all aspects of a relationship take work from both parts. So
yeah, you have to work on it together. You're, like I said before, you're trying to differentiate who you were or are versus who you need to be. And it's like, okay, well, now I need to step my game. You know, it took me some time to learn, okay, I got to step my game up. I can't do stuff I was doing when I was single. I can't make those kind of decisions. I got a child. I got responsibility. I can't do these things. And I think sometimes we try to hold on to those old identities. And, you know, we really need to let them go because, you know, I mean, some part of your identity is you, but, you know, you're trying to become one.
Right.
And think together.
And you keep saying men, but women, I mean, we go through that too.
Yeah, and I know
think
you do.
that
I'm just speaking for the men
general,
out there that
right.
You know, because I know with men, we often battle with a lot of these issues. Just talking to men that I work with, people that I know, you know, that's that strong battle. Like, okay, what is me and what is the husband aspect, you know?
Right.
And realizing that, you know, it's okay to focus on what is the most important relationship, and the most important relationship is us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And growing that, because we are married, we are becoming one. You know, and you have to look at some of those other relationships or friendships you have in your life and say, okay, well, I may have to, you know, kind of put those to the side to focus on my marriage. So I know that that's a struggle for a lot of men. So to men out there, you know, sometimes you might have to, you know, let some people go for a while, you know, for a short time, and just focus on your marriage.
Or permanently.
Yeah, some of them got to go permanently. Hey, you know, hey, bro, if people are good for you or not. You know, you don't take a drunk to the bar. If they're trying to overcome alcoholism, you don't take it to the bar. You know what I'm saying? So if you've got to stay away from the bar, if you're dealing with alcoholism, you stay away from it. Period.
So in that analogy, is the person the bar?
The friend. The toxic, you know, the toxic friend.
Right. That's the bar.
The friend that may be...
No. I just need to understand in that analogy, the bar the friend that you need to stay away from?
Yeah. The bar is the friend that you need to stay away from.
Okay.
Because the friend is leading you to the wrong things, or the friend is, hey, man, don't worry about that. You need to come over here. You know what I'm saying? Or hang out with the fellas, you know. You didn't hang out with the fellas in a while. Like, okay, well.
That's the bar.
That's the bar.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Myth number 8.
Ooh, okay. Myth number 8. Sex after marriage either doesn't happen or is bad. Not. Consciously work on connecting with your spouse and communicate wants, needs, likes, and dislikes. That is going to be the key. I'm telling you. It's great. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but ours is great. But that greatness took understanding.
Yep.
You know,
time,
trust, communication.
Yeah.
That makes sex way more better.
The removal there again, like the not taking it personal.
Yeah.
Like I may like or dislike something. That doesn't mean that I dislike you. It means that I don't like that. And that's okay because this I do like. So the communicating what you like, what you don't like, and understanding that communicating those things doesn't mean that it's a personal thing against your spouse. It just means those are things that you physically like or don't like.
And I'm just gonna I'll be real for a second, you know.
Oh God.
Oh God, here we go.
Oh God.
All right.
I'm sorry, y'all.
For some of us, we get our education, our sexual education from pornography. All right, and you often emulate those things you see on the pornography and thinking that's the way that works for every individual.
Let's preface that with when you're younger. And that's where how you form those thoughts. That's how you form those ideas.
Yeah, you form those ideas. So learning your partner, learning what they like and what they dislike will help guide you in that right direction as far as making it great. Because if you are doing what you see on the movies, oftentimes that's not what your partner may like. And you're trying to emulate these acts, and you're just find yourself doing something and just, because you haven't communicated. So that communication is going to help, or, I would take you a step further, if there's some things that, there's some people that'll be like, well, I don't do this and I don't do that, or I don't like to do this, I don't like to do that. It helps to know that your partner doesn't like this, or your partner doesn't like it, or your partner likes this, or your partner like that.
I will say also, if you have had sexual experiences with other people before being married, when you're with your spouse, some things that you may not have enjoyed with other people, with your spouse, it may be different because once you get to a level of trust and comfort, then it helps you physically, mentally, emotionally be at ease. And that makes all the difference in the world. So there's a level of trust there that I have, and I can tell you, I want to try this, or I tried this before and didn't like it. I'd like to try this again. And so that type of communication and understanding that, on the flip side of that, understanding that your partner's past could have a negative impact.
Definitely.
And so for me, because of experiences that I had gone through, we had some rough patches, really for several years. It just took a while for me to fully open up to let you understand what was happening. And honestly, even there are times even now where I have to get out of my head, I guess, and come back to reality, because I'm still healing. So, but I also, like I said, trust and communication, and I can communicate those things to you without feeling like I am letting you down or disappointing you, or without feeling I have to compromise myself and my well-being so that you can be satisfied.
It definitely did help when you explained to me how this incident made you feel, and that helped me understand, so that, before I knew, it felt like rejection.
Right.
Or it felt like, well, she don't love me like that, or whatever. And understanding that helped me to know, okay, well, it's not, because of me. It maybe the act that I tried at that time, or, there are other aspects that can change the sex drive, work, stress, issues that are going on in the household. So, we expect, I know with men, we expect just because we own that, the wife should be on. And having that discussion helps tremendously, so that there's no,
And that's what I was going to say.
Build up of resentment because, because I've even heard women go as far as say they don't like sex anymore because of their mate. And it's like, well, how do you,
Because there are times when it becomes, when you feel like it's an obligation.
Right.
And so if, early in our marriage, I felt like I'm supposed to sacrifice so much, and not just because of our marriage, but because of things that I was still dealing with, because of society. Right.
They tell you
right.
You're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that.
So then it becomes a chore. And I remember you telling me, it's not enjoyable for me if I feel like you don't want to do this. So it's better to tell me no, not tonight, than yes, and just go through the motions.
Right.
And that's something that I had to hear from him, and had to believe that he meant it. And he had to understand that if I do say no, it's not because of him, it's because of, whatever else. So
And another side note I want to add is sex that just started in the bedroom.
what?
Sex doesn't just start in the bedroom.
Where are we going?
I'm talking about foreplay,
Okay, but
the kisses, the kisses, just sporadic kisses for nothing. That,
intimacy,
what I'm saying?
then that builds up to. Okay, I'm just making sure that you're keeping it PG-13.
That's what I'm saying. That just started the bedroom. It started.
You're not traumatizing.
It started with the traumatizing grown folks.
I mean, you never know. Your kids might be listening, or family members they didn't need to know all that.
They know it.
All right, myth number 9. Our marriage will stay healthy without work.
Shit.
So anything and everything that's worthwhile, you have to work to maintain it.
Yes.
So right now we are on a journey to be great physically.
Yep.
And that means that we have to get up and we go work out.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to be mindful of our food choices.
Yep.
And sometimes that doesn't necessarily feel good because we have to put forth effort.
Yep.
And the same thing with our marriage. So in those times when there is a difficult conversation, we have to just move past it and have the conversation. And it takes both of us to do that. It takes a desire to want a successful, happy marriage. You have to want to have a good marriage in order to have the energy and mental stability to put forth the work.
Yep.
You have to first want it.
That means you got to do some research. Some counseling will help.
Yep.
But, I've even found myself at work, just like get my phone and look up something, nice things to do for the wife, just want to surprise her, so it's a constant work. You can't just, I use this analogy. We all have vehicles. I'm just analogy up.
Oh my God.
It's going to be deep right here.
Oh God.
All right, we all have vehicles, right? And you drive your car. Women, men, drive your car back and forth to work, shopping, whatever. You got to put gas in that car. What's going to run out of gas, right? You have to maintain it. If you don't maintain it, it's probably going to put you down. Your marriage is the same way. You depending on that car to get you to point A to point B.
Yeah.
You depending on that spouse to help you out. So you have to invest the time.
You have to put gas.
The gas is the time.
Oh, okay.
The gas is the time. The maintenance is, checking up. Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
And it don't take much, fellas. Except a little text during the day. Hey, baby, how you doing? How's your day? A little, I shouldn't have to tell. I ain't got to tell all my tricks. But anyway,
whatever.
Give out all my game. We'll do that later.
What game? But anywho,
all right. Myth number 10, last one. Married couples should love each other unconditionally. Unconditional love means giving love without expecting anything in return. And all healthy relationships have boundaries.
Or should have boundaries. Well, if they're healthy ones, then they do. So
conditions don't mean manipulation.
Right. We hear all the time that you should love unconditionally. Mm-hmm. And to some extent, I understand that. But you need boundaries put in place. You need to be able to say, no, I don't like that, or no, I don't want to do that, without feeling like your partner is going to love you any less. Right. You have to be free to express yourself without repercussions. So
Yeah.
that's what we mean when we say you don't want unconditional love. You want love that comes with conditions and boundaries, because that's another way to express that love. Earlier when we were going through the notes and preparing to record, I was trying to come up with an example of those conditions or boundaries, and I couldn't come up with a good one. But one that stuck out to me is I'm very cold-natured, and we have this little heater in the bathroom. So when I go in there to shower, I turn the heater on. And our bathroom is very narrow, and I would have the heater pulled out to where if you went in there, if it's dark, he gets up very early when he's going to work, and you're just waking up, he might stumble over the heater, or it might be in the way to where he has to kick it out of the way. And he said, I can't even remember what conversation we were having, and he said, but I do want you to do one thing for me. And I said, what? And he said, please put the heater back to the side.
Yeah.
And so now I make a conscious effort to put the heater back so it's not in the way. So that's one way that he expressed a need. I didn't take offense to it. I didn't question, well, why do you need me to push the heater back? Why can't you? I just do that because it's important for him to understand that I love and appreciate him. And if I can do that one thing for him so that he understands that, then that means a lot to me.
Yeah. And that the condition is that, I make you feel loved. That's the condition. I make you feel loved. So in response, I get love.
Right.
Or if I make you feel desired, you want to do things for me. Right. And vice versa. So
there are boundaries.
Go along with it. It's like I can't just not do anything for you and expect for you to do everything that I ask you to do.
And I honestly think that the idea of unconditional puts people in a position to be vulnerable and taken advantage of.
Yeah, so. I think that's one of those kind of like words that's been kind of placed wrong. Right. Just like we said, you need like more than love. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Kind of like in that aspect. So. Right.
All right, so those are 10 myths about marriage. We have discussed the realities of those things, and we are so thankful that you went along that journey with us.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, now it's time for Let's Discuss It. All right, so for our Let's Discuss It topic, there was an image posted online. There was a blue door on the left, a red door on the right. Yep. And the post was asking, which would you choose? So the blue door is the ability to go back in time and fix all of your mistakes. Or the red door is $10 million in hand right then. So we thought it would be fun to discuss what our choices would be and to hopefully hear from you all which door you would choose. So, which door?
I thought long and hard, but I think I'm going with that red door to get them $10 million because, I said it, I think we talked about it in the video, how you seen those movies where you go back and change something in time and it might affect your life now negatively. So, if I go back and change something, but then I don't meet you, so it wouldn't be worth it.
It certainly wouldn't.
No, I don't. You taught me that.
So I didn't have to think long and hard. In fact, it was a very quick response.
Yours was quick.
Mine was
when
quick.
I say long and hard, I mean like 5 minutes.
No, I didn't. I don't even know that it took me 5 seconds. I would take the red door because those mistakes that I've made have been made. And $10 million would really help me forget them.
Yeah.
So,
I can't think of a mistake that I made. Now, there's some personal mistakes. There were like times that, somebody said, hey, let's do this. I didn't do it and I felt bad about it. But that ain't worth $10 million.
Yeah, I honestly cannot think of any decision that I've made. Well, I can't think of any decision that I've made that I want to go back and undo, because like you said, the fear of not having you and our children, I wouldn't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
But $10 million, like I said, every mistake that glares in my brain, $10 million would dampen all of that.
Yeah, and then those mistakes are what made us who we are today.
That's right.
So it's like, hey, if I want, the only thing I thought about what make me think was changes were like maybe some stuff I might have said to people or things like that, or actions that I did that I felt that I knew was wrong, but I did it anyway. But $10 million, hey.
Yeah, that stuff is in the past.
Bro, my bad. I walk up, hey, bro, look here. My bad. You know what I'm saying? If I felt that way, you know what I'm saying?
That's so beautiful.
That's just it. I might apologize. Here, take $500 and forgive me. Stop.
Okay, so no, that's not me. But anywho, all right, so we want to hear from you all. We want you to go to Facebook, go to Instagram, and let us know what you would do. Would you choose the blue door to fix mistakes? Would you choose the red door and take the money? Thank y'all so much for joining us for episode 7 of the Beyond I Do podcast.
Please join us next time for episode 8, where we will discuss how we have worked through different types of loss and grief during our marriage.
In the meantime, please make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and also join us on YouTube for an extended discussion on the red door or the blue door.
And until next time, we will holler at y'all.